Hello everyone and welcome to another speed build. Now you might wonder why the structure is already built. Well, this was done for a shell challenge, so most of it was already built anyways, and I realized too late that I wanted to record this, which is why you're only seeing me doing this. Now, unfortunately, I also did cut out a big portion where I literally just showed off what the lot looked like currently, because essentially a big portion of that video was me trying to do something with lights, which ultimately didn't pan out, which is why I did this. And I think it looks cool. It really adds to the whole like futuristic vibe that I was trying to go for, So this was done, like I said, for a shell challenge. Now, this wasn't the first shell that I did for this challenge. This was actually the second one. The first one I've yet to finish even now, as I'm recording this. It's because it's like a big medieval village that I added to the shell because you could essentially do that with the shell. You could add what you wanted, as long as there were some semblance of the original shell there, and that's what I did. But then I was like, okay, let's rather do this because this is taking me way too long. I'm not going to finish in a dime. So let's do this as a shell. Let's do something cyberpunk, futuristic. Let's do a nightclub. So yeah, here we are. Well, again, just mumbling. I really need to get better at that. But I'm just adding a bunch of lights, a bunch of neon lights, making it look very, very colorful, but at the same time grungy, Adding some interior lights. Those Journey to the Two lights are really, really nice for that, especially like a cyberpunk feel or like a futuristic feel, something with grunge. So it works really, really well. And I'm just adding some seating that cannot be used because what I later use as like to cover the bottom, it's the Journey to the Two lightsaber holders, and they lightsaber display cases, better word, but they actually block the use of the chair. I didn't notice that until later. Even with the footprint upside down, the Sims still can't use it. I didn't notice that until I used it in a different build where I actually needed to test things. And so I was just like, oh no. Oh, great. Well, but it was too late. I already uploaded this. It sucked, but unfortunately, yeah. Here I'm just adding like a dance floor, a DJ booth, which I'll move later on to its own little section that can still be used, like there, which is the one great thing about platforms. Because if this was how we used to do platforms, and it was like a foundation separation, I think The Sims would essentially treat it like different rooms. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've done anything with foundations like that. Again, just adding a lot more lights. Again, going with the whole cyberpunk feel of neon and, grunge. Just changing the colors. Really liked I think this was the time when the better build by mod got updated to allow the changing of light colors in actual build by. I was like, yeah, finally, thank you. So here I'm trying to move this light down, but for some reason it's just not showing up. So the thing is, it was never going to move down. If it's on that floor, it stays on that floor. That's the unfortunate thing. So I had to bring new lights down here and rotate them and move them into the spot that I wanted to. Added some mirrors behind the lights just to essentially make it look a little cooler. I don't know how to make nightclubs. But yeah, that goes up into the office. Decided to move that down. I'm going to put a statue there in the corner. I do scale the statue a bit, not so that it's not that big. So I just wanted that more historical feel here and there, but I also wanted, again, the whole futuristic look and everything. So here I'm just adding some tables. At first I try to add that somewhere, and I do add it to the big bar here in the main area. And then I wanted to add these wine bottles. They just didn't fit at the end. I decided to add these things scaled down, which also, again, does get removed later on for this area, but the other area that I place these in, they stay. At first I tried to use this as like a topper, but then I just went with a different one, and then because I think that would have taken way too long to get it into the right area, instead of me just doing this, where I just take the short wall one, scale it down a bit, and then have it there, changing all the color to black again to match with the whole dark aesthetic of the place. Adding some more there by that window, because these windows were really big, and this is a nightclub, so you don't want too much light essentially coming through. But I also didn't want to throw curtains. Here I'm just adding more neon lights, essentially just to give some more detail, especially if you're looking from the outside to the windows. They actually give some nice detail there. Then again, adding more lights, gonna change the color of them to like a purple, just to like, honestly, just to give some more color variation. Because if you look at a lot of cyberpunk things, especially when it comes to clubs, there's a lot of color there, even if it's like very harsh concrete and brutalism style and grunge and everything. There's still a lot of color, especially with lights, you know. So that's what I aimed for with this. I still wanted to have a lot of color, a lot of, you know, brightness. So here I'm just actually moving that sim session tickets that we got, like, with the sim session event. Like, I was like, ooh, okay, you know, you can use your ticket or whatever. Maybe there's a DJ playing here one night or whatever. I don't know. It was just a little detail that I wanted to add, adding those lights from Get Together, you know, again, more detail, changing up the stairs. Now I'm going to work on the exterior, and I'm just adding some little landscaping to essentially give something to those areas. I didn't want it all to just be like full on. Unfortunately, here I had to do the landscaping. I really wish that was just a flat little area, but because of the stairs going down to the basement, that wasn't possible. So I had to add this. I wish this wasn't a thing. I wish I could have just removed it, but that didn't happen. So here I do remove that one, and then I just add these flowers here just to essentially, I think, match the back. I think they're the same flowers from the back. Adding maybe a sign that's maybe the club's name. Then I'm adding some floor murals, because again, the whole cyberpunk aspect, a lot of graffiti, a lot of vandalism, essentially, a lot of art here and there. You know, it gives folks that dystopian future of just graffiti. Yeah, I don't know. Again, just mumbling. But yeah, I wanted it to look like it had been somewhat vandalized. And then I'm just adding actual graffiti from the paintings category, from the wall art category, just to, again, go on top of it, adding those posters, because they definitely look like, oh, hey, this band is here, you know, type of thing. Obviously, if this was probably like The Sims 3, there would be like a building right behind it, and this would be like an alleyway and things like that. That doesn't happen in The Sims 4 unless the world is built like that, so unfortunately everything looks open and it looks kind of weird where it is now, but I really tried to evoke that thing of, oh, this is supposed to go into a city, it's supposed to be filled to the brim with buildings, and this is an older building that had been renovated into a nightclub. So yeah. But yeah, no, the other shell that I did, the medieval village, I still plan on doing like a tour of it, an unfinished tour essentially, because I don't know when I'm gonna finish that, just to essentially give you guys, be like, oh hey, look, this is what I've done so far, and I don't know when it's gonna be finished, but here's at least an update on this. And I think I definitely want to do that also with the guild build that I did, because essentially it's also very a similar type of thing, except it's just on a shell. Here I'm adding stuff to the basement, adding some wallpaper, yeah, just adding those lights to this area. This is more of the VIP area. It does change. There's not going to be a bar. That bar is not going to be there. I do change it to a different bar. And here I'm just adding some smaller things on the sides to cap them off, just so that it isn't just these gaps in between. I do not go with these tables. I actually go with the one, from January to it 2. And then that table right near the TV doesn't stay. Because I don't know, it just felt cramped at a certain point. I was like, I don't want it to feel cramped. I want it to be a bit more open. So let's remove this. Let's just add these chairs here. And then I just move these around. Now I think one of them is a gambling table, I think. Yeah, and then I'm just adding some stuff, moving the bar around, and here's where I'm removing those slats behind on the windows, and then just using these. I wanted to do something with them. Didn't pan out just because it didn't look good at the end, but I still kept them because they actually looked good behind the bar. Who knows? But yeah, okay, see, so there you could see like a little glimpse of me using the lightsaber display cases as coverings under the seats. Again, that makes them unusable, but there is enough seating in the entire club that those aren't exactly needed. Yeah. Plus, I mean, there is a unusable, hookah place there in the VIP lounge. Like, I added hookah. Here I'm just sort of going through and I'm seeing the new things that was added with cottage living to the base game, oddly. Like, there's flour and sugar in the base game. It's a base game object. I'm like, but why? It's not usable for anybody in the base game. So why add it, you know? And so, like, why? It's basically useless. But anyways, and also the canning like jars are also in the base game, oddly enough, even though none of that is base game. So here I'm just adding some little detail to the underside of the bar, you know, essentially, even though nobody's gonna see this, like, I don't know if anybody's gonna see this, but I just wanted to add some little detail for my sake, you know. Again, these are all things. This little jar here is something that I made myself, and I'm just taking it off of my gallery. So if you want to use that, it's on my gallery. Just look for it. Like, you can just find it in the rooms. I have a few things made with tulle in my rooms, so just you can look through it if there's anything you ever need. Again, just cluttering up the bar even more, adding some stuff here and there, adding some stuff throughout the club, and then yeah, that's it. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. I think I'm overdosing.